My name's Scott Daniels, and I'm here to nominate Joe Hatch for the office of National Committeeman. I've been involved in politics for a long time now, and from the beginning, I've heard from a number of Democrats this kind of talk. We live here in Utah. It's a conservative state. We sail against the wind, and really the only way we can ever be successful is to bend a little bit, compromise, maybe back down a little bit on some of these hot-button issues. You know, when I first became involved in politics, it was the right-to-work law. And then after that, it was the Equal Rights Amendment. And then after that, it was reproductive rights. And now it's gay marriage. The tune has changed. The tune's the same. The lyrics may be a little different. But it's always, you know, we got to back down a little bit on these things to be successful. And although I respect the Democrats that have that view, I want to tell you it's bullshit. Because it's true that we sail against the wind here in Utah. Yeah, we sail against the wind. All the more reason why we got to keep the rudder true. There are certain fundamental core principles that we cannot back down from. We have to support quality public education for every Utahn and not subsidize private schools. We have to support an immigration policy based on compassion. We have to support a foreign policy based on international cooperation and telling the truth to the American public. And we have to support a homeland security policy that does not rely on torture or spying on American citizens. We have to support these things. They're our first principles. We can't compromise on these things. We've got to stand for them. Everybody that can hear my voice, every one of you knows we've got to get the warmongers out of the White House. And we can't let any more back in. We've got to get the bigots and the holy hypocrites out of the Congress of the United States of America. And I want to tell you that we cannot do that by pretending to be Republicans. We can only do it, the only way to do it is to stand for something. Now, I'm supporting Joe Hatch because, okay, he doesn't comb his hair very often, but he's a real Democrat. He's like Barack Obama in that way. He's a real Democrat. He's not ashamed of it, and he stands for something. So, vote for him.
Good afternoon. My name is Phil Bernal, and I'm seconding the nomination of Joe Hatch for National Committeeman. I'm an Obama supporter, but I'm a Democratic supporter of Democratic ideas, what Scott mentioned. And because of that, I'm supporting Joe. I'm also chair of the State Hispanic Democratic Caucus. That caucus this morning only endorsed one candidate, and that candidate was Joe Hatch. On your program, you'll see my name as a candidate for National Committeeman. And I withdrew my name because I really believe that Joe is the one that really should be representing Utah. He will represent all of Democrats in Utah, and that's very important. We need someone who would support Democrats in the state of Utah, and he'll support every one of us in Utah when he's elected as National Committeeman. So again, I think Joe's the man. We know he's the man, and this is one of the few times we can say the word, the man. Running for National Committeeman, Joe Hatch.
I'd like to thank Scott and Phil for their kind words, and I'd also like to thank the Hispanic Caucus, the Stonewall Caucus, and my caucus, the Labor Caucus, for their endorsement. My name is Joe Hatch, and I'm asking you to vote for me for National Committeeman. I am seeking this party office with the same enthusiasm, commitment, idealism, and hopefulness, and yes, with a little bit of anger, as I did as a 19-year-old boy from Logan when I first ran and was elected as a McGovern delegate to this party's convention. In 1972, this country was engaged in an endless civil war halfway around the world that was bleeding our nation of its youth and treasury. Many young people, including myself, flocked to the Democratic Party to help end that awful war. Most of us stayed with this party, and we never lost our values. Today, we are equally angry that our country is involved in another awful civil war, but there is a hopeful sign. Millions of young Americans are again flocking to our party as the best hope to end the war in Iraq. Unfortunately, in one critical area, the Utah Democratic Party of today is very different than the Utah Party of 1972. In 1972, Utah had Governor Rampton, Senator Moss, Congressman McKay, and a young Wayne Owens was about to be elected to Congress. The Democrats in our state legislature were often in the majority. We did not call ourselves yellow dog Democrats, blue dog Democrats, or any kind of dog. We called ourselves Democrats. Now, I am sophisticated enough to understand the need for many of our candidates to reach out to independents and Republicans in order to win an election. However, our National Committeeman should only represent Utah Democrats to the National Party, not Utah independents, and God forbid, not Utah Republicans. We all know there are political forces out there that divide our party and divide our state by economic and social class, by education, by religion, by race, and by sexual orientation. Let's fight those forces within our party. Let the forces of division find a home in that other party. If you agree with me that the Utah Democratic Party should not be viewed as some small conservative distant cousin of the National Party, but instead we should be known as the dynamic party within the mainstream of the National Party whose values are pro-labor, pro-environment, and progressive, then I appreciate your vote as National Committeeman. Thank you very much.